Hi, I'm Pattie Walden, and I'm here on behalf of the Atlanta Metro Black Chamber of Commerce, part of the Communications Division, and I'm here today with Mr. Frank Webster, who is the president of Herzing University. Mr. Webster, thank you so very much for agreeing to talk with us today. I understand that you are going to be making a trip to Washington, D.C., Capitol Hill. If you could just share with us the purpose of this trip, please.
Well, as you know, there's a lot of issues that are occurring now in Washington, D.C. relative to budget cuts, and what, as an educator, we're concerned about the cuts having a profound negative impact on our students in the form of financial aid and other types of things that's going to impact on our community, and we have to stand up and certainly and be a voice for those students. This one particular issue that we're really concerned about is the gainful employment, and what the gainful employment will do is that it will practically eliminate the ability of students that are non-traditional type of students, which is the predominant part of the population that we serve, from receiving Title IV funding or having access to programs that will actually help them to go to get jobs. And the name of this legislation is really gainful employment, and really what it is rulemaking. It's really rulemaking by the Department of Education that is not sanctioned by Congress, and so it's being done behind closed doors. And so we want to bring attention to the fact that, you know, we can't have the Department of Education making political type decisions so that they can reallocate resources to public institutions at the expense of private proprietary institutions.
So from this meeting then, what do you hope to walk away with?
Well, what we want to do is that we want to inform and educate our congressmen so that they are aware of the negative impact that these type of rulemakings will have on their constituents. Because, for instance, we are in the 5th Congressional District here in Atlanta, and many of the constituents in this congressional district, they will find that they will have nowhere to go. They cannot use financial aid to get an education, and that's and also more than likely they will not be able to go to any public institutions as well, because, you know, as you know, public institutions, they have a whole set of different rules that they use to enroll students, and they certainly do not look out for the non-traditional students.
Okay. And does this affect you? Being the president of this university, it certainly resonates to you on a corporate level. What's your feeling on an individual level?
Well, on an individual level, I really believe that that this legislation, this rulemaking, I think is being made for two reasons. It's being made because I think the public institutions feel that the private proprietary institutions are really making inroads into areas that they have been dominant in for many, many years. Now, and which is really not true. I think that our society has changed, and we find that we have a lot of job changers. We also have a lot of people, and for instance, I will use the idea of a single mom that wants to, that has a job that's perhaps just paying not a living wage, but something less than that, and realizes that she needs to get a college education if she's going to earn more money. And so she decides, she looks around and she decides, I need to go back to school and get some type of training or college education. But she does not want to go to, she doesn't want to go to a school where she has to, number one, interact with young kids out of high school, and take a lot of, literature courses or something like that, and that's really going to require her to be in school for 4 or 5 years. She's interested in, what do I need to learn to get a degree that would allow, and to learn the skills that I need to get to, to move up in my organization. And so we the private proprietary institutions design programs that do just that. They're particularly, they particularly focus on career-oriented type of education. It's the same thing, but we don't focus, we're not interested necessarily in providing a lot of programs that are going to provide enlightenment, but really more about hands-on, so that when they step into a particular profession, that they're going to be able to do that job from day one. And there's not a 6-month or a year ramp up as would happen with someone coming out of a traditional university. Oftentimes they have a lot of knowledge, but they do not have a lot of skills.
Right.
Does that make sense? It doesn't, so there are no skills there. So that's really the big difference, and that's the way that I think about that, and I think that they're mistaken when they believe that we're getting into an area that we're taking away from their population. The fact is that enrollment at public universities is way up. In fact, their model is to deny entry, whereas our model is to reach out to bring students, and these students are not students that would go to a typical public institution anyway. And so it also comes down to the belief that there's only so much financial aid money that's available. And now that the states are cutting some of the funding for some of these public institutions, so these public institutions want to go after a larger share of the federal financial aid that's available, and they perceive that the private proprietary institutions are taking some of that, and so it's a way for them to take, well, let's go over there and maybe take some of what they have, and here are the rules that would enable us to do that. And I think that the U.S. Department of Education is a part of is a part of that in terms of working in concert. I have no evidence to suggest that, but I mean to support that, but it's just an individual thought.
Sure.
Yeah.
So connect the dots for me, if you could, when you get back from this meeting. This is largely about gainful employment. What happens after the meeting?
Well,
What's your role when you get back?
Well, when I get back, I will continue to reach out to the officials that we've contacted and that we've talked to thank them for their support, and to continue to see to pursue further support and for students, and so I think that's what we will continue to do, and so it's kind of like one day at a time in terms of how we're going to implement. But when it comes right down to it, we're hoping to defeat it.
Hi, I'm Pattie Walden. We just spoke with Mr. Frank Webster, President of Herzing University. I'm here now with Micheal Hill, President of the Atlanta Metro Black Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Micheal Hill will be traveling with Mr. Frank Webster to Washington, D.C. Micheal Hill, welcome and thank you.
Thank you.
Tell me what your purpose is, what you are looking to gain from this trip to Washington, D.C. on behalf of the Chamber, Herzing University, and
Herzing has been a partner of the Chamber for the last 4 years, and we're honored that they selected us to go up and help them discuss issues as it relates to gainful employment. And I'm very excited about that, and it's an issue that really affects and impacts our community, particularly African American community, in terms of educational opportunities that allow them to get higher paying jobs. The whole argument behind the whole gainful employment is that there's a concern in terms of institutions such as Phoenix University and some of the other what I call for-profit institutions are graduating students and they're not getting the income type jobs to match the expense of their college tuition. So I think that's still up to debate, and I think it varies from economy to economy. These institutions are institutions in which African American students can enter and develop the skill sets and develop the criteria that they need to get higher paying jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's something that the government should necessarily be intervening in and interfering with, because I'm concerned about how that will impact students who would not have otherwise gotten an opportunity because they could not have gotten into Harvard or UGA or any other schools, but these schools actually providing opportunities for them to increase their income.
Okay.
So I think the verdict is out in terms of the purpose behind this legislation. I just don't want to see opportunities go away for our students.
What will constitute a successful meeting for you? When you walk away, what would you like to see happen as a goal from this meeting?
I would like them to take a deeper look in terms of the legislation and how it's going to impact these schools, and I would hope that they would just kind of more or less leave it alone. Let the institutions do what they do best, which is educating these students and giving them opportunities for better employment.
Excellent. Well, we're going to do what we do best, which is giving you a full view. So we're interviewing now, and we'll get back to you when they get back from Washington, D.C. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.